Okay, who here hasn't been to space?
Why?
You better not throw up on my ship.
Approaching jump in 3, 2, 1.
The first main topic we're going to be moving into is the controversial Harrison Ford possibly being looked at as Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU. And to me, I'm titling this segment of this is Marvel contradicting themselves. Mm-hmm. And the reason I ask that is because, as we all know, our brother Chadwick Boseman passed away in August of 2020, and we all mourned. We all mourned when Chadwick Boseman passed away. For those that weren't already familiar with Chadwick Boseman, either from his work in 42 as Jackie Robinson, as Thurgood Marshall in Marshall, or as his work as James Brown and Get On Up. Mm-hmm. There's so many different, but I think that the world was introduced to him as T'Challa in the MCU. Yeah. So being introduced to him as T'Challa in the MCU, people got invested in Chadwick and, of course, mourned the loss of him in 2020.
Yes.
You had on one hand, you had some people saying when he passed, because Marvel came out saying, of course, Kevin Feige, everybody knows this, that Kevin Feige came out in that December of that same year and said, we are not going to recast the character of T'Challa. Because of how the legacy that Chadwick left, blah, blah, blah. Everybody knows that. But you had some people on one hand saying, good, that's a good thing. Do not recast the character. But you had another people on the other hand saying, what are you doing? Of course you recast the character. The character means so much to the community, so much to history, so much to Marvel in general. MCU, to the MCU. And then, of course, you know that we also had Nate Moore that came out later on in November. He talked on the Van Lathan show and he said, I'm not going to hedge my bets. I'm not playing that video, but I'll give you what he said. I'm not going to hedge my bets. You will not see T'Challa in the Earth 616. Tone every single time T'Challa is talked about is changed in the MCU.
Right.
Why? Because Marvel's starting to feel the pressure. We talked about this a little bit Thursday. Yeah. Marvel's starting to feel the pressure of the fandom. The fandom putting pressure on the recast. Marvel has always been aware of the media. Yes.
Good.
Marvel's always been aware of the hashtag. They know what's going on. They've got their ear to the ground, as Kellen says. Mm-hmm. They've got their ear to the ground. They're listening. They know what's going on with the fandom, and they know that people are wanting a T'Challa recast. And I think that pressure is being felt more and more each time. Because anytime, and I do mean anytime, Wakanda Forever is discussed, the King's name trends. Mm-hmm. It ain't M'Baku. It's not Shuri. It's not Okoye. It ain't Namor.
Yeah.
It's fucking T'Challa. And that is what the movement was always supposed to be. That's what the hashtag was supposed to be. It was supposed to be making people more aware of this character, how important this character is, making him a household name like Peter Parker, Tony Stark, or Steve Rogers. And that was achieved. Yeah, and it was achieved. Yeah. I was just about to say that. I will say that through the hashtag Recast T'Challa, through E-Man starting this movement, it has been achieved.
Yeah.
Because, again, talk about Wakanda Forever. When that second trailer drops, and I believe it will drop this week, I honestly do. Of course, people are going to talk about whatever is shown in the trailer. People are going to talk about, if it is as beautiful as the first one, people are going to say, that was beautiful, that was great. But what the fuck do you think the overall conversation's going to be?
Yeah.
But where is T'Challa? How is T'Challa? When are you bringing back T'Challa? Yeah. Is the king really ultimately just gone? And I don't believe he is anymore. Because recently, Kevin Feige has come out and said...
That was so encouraging. That was awesome.
It was encouraging. It was encouraging wording for him to come out and say, we just felt it was just too soon. Mm-hmm. Not what he said in 2020.
Right.
In 2020, his wording was, we will not recast the character.
He spoke with finality initially, which is why we were all upset.
Exactly. And I'm not knocking... I'm not saying that their feelings weren't valid then, and their feelings were valid, and their feelings are still valid today. But he also goes on in that to say, we felt it was just too soon to recast. But he also said that the world is still processing the loss of Chad. That's what he said at the end of that. The world is still he said something about Stan Lee always wants us to see the world. He always wanted us to see Marvel as we see it in our, outside our window.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I don't disagree with that, but I do disagree with what Kevin Feige said there at the end when he said the world is still processing the loss of Chad. I mean this in no disrespect at all. Chadwick Boseman, the great actor he was, 2 months after he passed, when Kevin Feige initially said in December, sure, we were still processing his loss, but it's been 2 years.
2 years is a big difference, yeah.
I'll throw in this, and this is where, and this goes, I've said this to you guys, and now I will say it live on this channel. You know, it goes with Thunderbolt Ross, it goes with T'Challa, it goes with any character that is done in these movies. We are all human, we're all gonna die, right? It happens. And in these moments, literally all it takes is for Kevin Feige, and in the chat, tell me if I'm wrong here, tell me if y'all would be just as angry about this, but all it takes is him going, the world is mourning the loss of a great actor, X, whichever actor, or Chadwick Boseman, he's mourning the loss of Chadwick Boseman. We feel it would be a disservice to any other actor to take up this mantle at this time.
Right.
We will give everyone time to mourn, but the story of T'Challa will be told.
It's too important.
And then you back off, right?
You know?
So yeah, the next and it could be like we got to figure out how to pull this off, right? So again, Wakanda Forever comes out because you're mentioning the Mourning, where I'm just be real honest with you. I've lost a lot of friends in my life, right? And mourning isn't something you can quantify in a timeline, right? Because we could be 3 months down the road and I'm good, and then I hear a song and I'm in fucking tears.
Exactly.
It literally happened to me the other day over one of my best friends. Yeah. So Wakanda Forever comes out. You can't tell me that I'm going to bring up a lot of feelings for people. You can't tell me that. Because you can see even the cast, while it makes sense, they're
that's
like...
something you brought up on
what
Thursday,
did Letitia Wright say, you know, about him, right? I get that. So you don't. And you let them know, hey, we have not recast him. He will not be in this film in whatever way we do it.
Right.
Also, because there is a point that for half of the community, you recast him that quick for the next movie... That actor does not need that bad treatment. That actor does not deserve to have to deal with that burden. They should go into this role welcomed, loved, and accepted. Say, we mourn. We made a whole movie without T'Challa in it. Now let's get back in it. And then the community can embrace.
And everybody keeps talking about mourning. Mourning. We mourn. The world is still processing Chad's loss. At what fucking point do we celebrate? Okay, because listen, as people, as a society, we go from mourning to celebrating. Right. I could be wrong. Maybe that's just me.
No, I'm with you.
But we go from mourning to celebrate. In the initial 2 months, in the initial whatever, yes, we are mourning. Right. But at what point do we celebrate this man's life? At what point do we celebrate his life in a way, what he wanted? At what point do we look at these interviews, Marvel, and look at them and say, oh, this is what he wanted. So let's celebrate his life in the way he wanted us to celebrate his life. And that's continuing on the roll. I don't care what anybody has, has to say out there about that. Everybody keeps saying, well, what would Chadwick want? What would his family want? His family has spoke on what they want. Chadwick has spoke on what he wants. So I that's why I'm saying, at what point do we stop this whole, mourning? And I've said that. Now, it's going to be re-triggered. Because, like you just said, we are now going to have to sit down November 11th, November 10th, whenever you're seeing it for the first time, and we're going to sit there, and we're going to be re-triggered again by the death. Because if the rumors and the leaks are true, then you are going to be killing this man the exact same way. You're going to be killing T'Challa the exact same way that Chadwick died in real life, and that's through a sickness. Why do I want to go? And I've said this in my fantasy film, in any fantasy film. I don't care what version of fantasy it is, whether it be Marvel, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, even the animated ATLA, I don't care. At what point do I want to sit down in a fantasy film and have real life tragedy transcended into that? When we talk about movies, when we go to the movie theater, unless it's a real biopic or something like that, we go to escape the realisms of life.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Essentially, just suspend reality for a little bit and enjoy something. Buy into a world that's not real.
Exactly. So at what point, Marvel, are you taking my money and saying, hey, I'm going to kick you in the dick so you can mourn again?
Right. I mean, you showed those kids last week or the week before or whatever. Like those kids who had the little... Yeah, and it's like, you're going to bring that back up again? Because they went through that not even from a Marvel movie that they went and saw. They... Just from finding out that a character that they loved, the guy who played him, did it. Now they're going to go watch him die on the screen.
For the third time.
We have had people comment.
Right, because...
for the third time.
All T'Challa's done in this
it's
whole
the
fucking
blip.
series
Hopefully it is the blip. and all is well.
That's the prayer.
Right.
That is the prayer.
And we come back after watching the movie here soon, and we are singing nothing but praises.
Right, and
that's
no,
my
but
hope.
see, that's my problem though, is that we're seeing him die for the third time. That's all T'Challa does in the MCU. Is fucking die.
Yeah.
That's all he does. It's we've talked about it normalizing Black Death on screen. We've talked about all these things. But it goes to what you were just saying, to keep it on par with I want to respond to that. So I'll admit, I do like, when it comes to my fiction, what I like to, whether it's reading or watching, I do like a little bit of tragedy, because I think it salts a character's life, right?
That's fine, but not real life tragedy.
No, that's the difference, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying you have the young adventurer who's all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and ready to go, and then because of his actions, someone he cares about dies, right? And you see that growth, that's character development, right? That makes sense. There's tragedy and pain. Tells a good story. It does. But
not to cut you, sorry, just real quick, because we saw that with T'Challa.
I know.
His dad died.
I know.
He had to deal with that.
Right.
So that should have been the what we watched him grow on.
Right.
We should have watched him grow off of that.
Right. Well, no, and that's what I'm saying.
It's frustrating as fuck.
Where I could understand the argument of this could be compelling storytelling. If it didn't just happen with T'Chaka, right? So basically, you're setting up the point where anytime a Black King gets involved, they'll die for growth of someone else who
because we have to kill one to elevate the other. That's what we have to do in Wakanda.
Or, but the difference between
you only have one.
the difference between me
One at a
liking
time.
more harsh reality, kind of grimdark fantasy versus this is real life. The actor died via sickness, so you're going to make his character die via sickness in the movie.
Man,
we have to watch it.
Well, that's the thing.
That
it's
is fucking mind-blowing.
But see, the first time we mourned, we didn't have to pay for that. That was free.
Right,
That was a free mourn.
Yeah.
This time, we are paying. I'm giving them.
Well, I feel bad for Black parents too.
I'm gonna let you. I want you to finish that statement. But I want to say this too, because I know someone could say off of that comment, "Well, don't watch the film." I still want to watch the film.
It's your favorite fucking comic.
It is my favorite comic book character. I still want to watch the film.
You're allowed to care.
Yes,
and have an opinion.
I can have an opinion and care.
Yeah.
So but it has nothing to do whether or not I want to watch the film or not. I'm still going to go watch Wakanda Forever. I'm gonna be critical as fuck. Of course I am.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get to complain. Because again, you're taking the franchise's main character out of his own IP. And again, I think Marvel, that's why Kevin Feige said what he said, because Marvel's starting to feel the pressure of, are we making the right choice? Yeah, we said 2 years ago this was the right choice, but are we actually making the right choice? Fans are not happy. Every time something comes up about the film, if you talk about it, Nate Moore talks about it, hell, if one of the cast members talk about it, his name trends.
Yeah.
So should we put the king back on his throne?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so what I was going to say to that is, also, real quick with that, you're talking about your favorite movie and don't watch it and you let it have an opinion. That's the trick they're doing here, because we know this is going to be a great film, visually, right? We know this is going to be an astounding film. The same amount of care, because I've said this before, this movie was... Well, look at Black Panther 1, man. Look at the community. You can feel it when you watch that movie.
And I know you keep saying the community, but like you've mentioned too before, the little white kids that enjoyed Black Panther, the Asian kids.
No, I'm not talking about the viewership community. I'm saying the movie, the production of the movie.
Right.
The writers, the cast, everything. It was there was so much heart, and just that opening trailer. I always go back to it's the most mesmerizing scene to me in the Wakanda Forever trailer, where the woman has the white hood and they're all dancing, and
That's Letitia.
It's like, dude, I get chills because because the cinematography, the way the light is perfectly, the horizon's hitting just right. I mean, everything is, there's so much attention to detail. So this film is going to be amazing. That trailer was one of the best trailers I've ever seen in my life, right? So the whole don't watch it. Why would you not go see what is clearly going to be an incredible film? But you also have to know that your favorite character that you grew up loving is going to die in the film,
and
right?
not only that,
and that goes back to the I feel bad for Black parents here, right? Like I feel bad for. I wish Julian was here, because if you have children, right, that look up. I mean, obviously when Black Panther came out, because everyone's getting into the MCU, all these movies are coming out. Black Panther comes out, you get your kids involved in it. Everyone loves it. Your kids love T'Challa. You love looking at your kids and seeing what T'Challa represents for them, what they can see through him that they can't even see through you, right? You love the message, you love all of that, and then you have to. They know Wakanda Forever's coming. kids know. They're going to see trailers. They're going to see this and that. And you have to take your kids to this movie knowing that their favorite character is going to die.
And you have to explain it to them like, bud, no.
Again, and then they can even look like, is he coming back this time? Yeah, he came back the other two times.
Bud, unless this film is in the blip, bud, T'Challa's gone, bud. That's what you got to tell your kids. We've had so many parents comment on our recast videos and say, my kid didn't know they were killing T'Challa, or my kid overheard me listening to this video and completely agrees. We've had parents say that my 7-year-old said that if this was Spider-Man, they would never do this. We've said that. Yeah.
Smart little kid.
It's just...
And it would just be a different Spider-Man, too. That's the thing. Any kid sees the actor on screen, if it's a recasted actor, right? They're going to be watching, looking at this actor, and they might be like, that's not the Black Panther, Dad, you're crazy. And then the minute the fucking suit comes on, they're going to be like, it's the Black Panther. Oh, shit. Yeah. And it's just, I don't get it, but it goes back to what I'm saying about, let's bring this back to the Thunderbolt Ross.
Well, I was just about to bring that back in.
They're realizing, we kind of need to recast him. Some of these stories kind of fucking intersect.
Are you talking about Thunderbolt Ross? Yeah, see, Marvel realized there in that moment. I don't know why it was so easy for Marvel to sit down at their Marvel table, whatever meeting, wherever the fuck they meet, for them to sit down and say, it's hard telling the Thunderbolt story without Thunderbolt Ross. So maybe we need to get Thunderbolt Ross in here to accurately tell some of these stories, because you cannot look me in the eye and say when they introduced the Thunderbolts team at D23, you were up on your feet, dog. Bullshit.
Right.
Because when they announced that team, my first question was, where the fuck's Zemo? Second question was, why Abomination? Why is he not there? Third question was, where the fuck is Red Hulk? Thunderbolt Ross. Yeah. The creator of the fucking team. I understood that William Hurt passed, and at the time I thought Marvel said they weren't recasting him. At the time, I thought they weren't. But then again, they started realizing, writing some of these stories
a little quicker.
Yeah, we can't exactly. We can't
what's
tell
the
this.
Difference?
What's the difference, bro?
I can't think of his name, and I feel bad for this. The actor that played Ross,
William Hurt.
William Hurt, right? Don't yell at me. Fuck, I'm sorry. There's a lot of actors involved in this. Hurt's been in it since the beginning, right?
Hurt's been in this since 2008.
Since the beginning.
Yeah.
Hurt also loves comic book films. He loves comic books. He was involved in this world. And that is the biggest smite to me, right? If I'm trying... It's not even just, I'm playing a character I love. I want to see him played more on screen. For Hurt, it was like, no, I ushered in the MCU. You want this to stop? Because I died? Keep going. I fucking ran the ball like I'm fucking 2 feet away from the end zone. Run the fucking ball, man.
Run it.
Keep going with it. That's what I fucking crawled. I struggled through so y'all could run. Holy shit. And that's what just gets me. I promise you. Chadwick's whole family came out and said, recast, right? Chadwick didn't tell he knew he was gonna die. He didn't fucking tell any of them. He did not tell them. I mean, that leaves it a little ambiguous, I guess. But, if he didn't want to see... He knew he was going to die. If he didn't want to see this movie continue, because I'm sure they were... they were in talks with him of... Again, we talked about leading the Avengers, doing this and that. He knew... He could... Just through his meetings at work, and he knew the legacy. He knew where T'Challa was going. He knew where the character was going. He said, I got it here. And he knew he was going to die. You think he just said, nah, fuck all of them plans they had? No, he wants it to go on.
No, and with Harrison Ford, I'm not going to sit here and say that the news of Harrison Ford being Thunderbolt Ross doesn't excite me. Don't get me wrong. I still love Marvel.
Yeah.
So I still would like to see a caliber actor of Harrison Ford. Yeah. I mean, hell, Harrison Ford is already the grumpy get off my lawn, old man. Yeah. That is Thunderbolt Ross, and I would like to see him translate that and bring that, because as Red Hulk, he still retains his mind, but he's also still that crazy, military guy. So I would love to see that. I'm not saying I'm perturbed by the news of Harrison Ford. I'm just saying, what the fuck's the difference?
Yeah, stay consistent.
Yeah, stay consistent with what you put out there.
We want both recasted, and here's the thing too. Here's the question: what's more important to the MCU, the Thunderbolts or Wakanda?
Exactly.
And who's more important, the Black Panther to the MCU or Ross.
Right.
But with Black Panther, you know, it wasn't a thought. There was no discussion.
Yeah.
I mean, they're already talking about recasting the other. Mm-hmm. So it's just like you're talking about one that holds so much weight and the character matters so much. What kids are idolizing Ross?
That's what I'm saying.
What toys are they selling?
There you
Ross?
go. There you go. Really.
You know, also, we're talking about a movie versus what we know these Disney Plus shows, which are, you know, just in between and storytelling and developing characters that can later be on the big screen. Mm-hmm. But yet they're going to prioritize that. Right. I just think it's just pretty easy to see through.
Right, because you know there was no way they weren't going to put Red Hulk in their shit. There was just no way.
Yeah.
You know, there were rumors that the Red Hulk may be Betty Ross because she's still out there or something like that. But there was no way you weren't going to continue with Thunderbolt Ross. There's just no way.
Yeah.
And I feel, again, it's weird having these conversations because what conclusion did you come up with where you're like, oh, but there is a way we can do this without T'Challa. Yeah. We can do this without the king.
It's major mental gymnastics. It
is. And, you know, so, like I said, I've said this so many times. Chadwick Boseman himself has said what the right thing to do is. You know, I think some people, and I get so irritated with people and I'm coming to the closing points on this. I get so irritated with the people on Twitter or people online that are just so fucking sure of themselves. That are just so fucking sure that they absolutely know what Chadwick would want. What his family would want, what Marvel would want, people without ever doing any research on any of this.
Because he says it a lot.
Yeah. Says it a lot. Mm-hmm. And that shit irritates me. You're so fucking sure that you know when you just came on the hashtag today. You just saw this is your first time coming out, but you know Chadwick wouldn't have wanted this.
Dude, and I had someone on TikTok. And I told you about it, and you were like, "I'm glad it was you responding and not me."
Yeah, I would have got him.
This person, I posted one of our recast conversations. They said, they were like, "Chadwick made the Black Panther. Why would Marvel even think about recasting?" And I was like, Marvel made no. T'Challa was a huge character that people loved long before Chadwick Boseman, amazingly. Reprised the role, helmed it, did an amazing job with it. Yeah. Can't say anything bad about it.
First on-screen portrayal of a character created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in 1965.
Yeah.
Let him know. But
okay.
But what I'm saying is, you know, in that moment, like, that's a casual fan, right? And Marvel, the MCU has a lot of those where they'll be like, we'll see something, right? Like a fucking, we see the Thunderbolts casting, right? And where the fuck is Zemo, right? And then a lot of casual fans are like, who's Zemo?
Well, no, a lot of casual fans are like, Yelena! Because that's what they know.
Yeah. Right, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of events you'll see, seeing, we're heading towards Secret Wars, and we're heading towards Secret Invasion, whatnot. A lot of standard fans are like, what is that? I don't know what you're talking about. What is that? And then they see them say, we're doing Secret Wars. They're like, oh, cool. They don't know these things. Yeah. So to have a fan, their honest thought was like, I never heard of the Black Panther before Chadwick did the movie. Mm-hmm. So Chadwick must have made this character popular. And it's like, no.
Yeah. No.
0%.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Not the case.
No.
The character is, you don't, just showing that shows the ignorance of you not knowing what T'Challa's effect within the universe of the Marvel Comics is, right? His importance to Wakanda, right?
Right.
And a lot of people see, Wakanda can go on without him, and it's a misogyny, and so he can do it, and la. You don't know the struggles that he goes through. You don't know the events that he goes through, right? So it's just, to me, it is a lot of ignorance in that category, where they have to deal with a lot of that chatter of like,
so much ignorance in this conversation.
Why would you replace the character Chadwick made? He fucking didn't, bro. Like, that's the point. Yeah. This is a character that's had a lot of fans way before these movies.
Yeah.
And a lot of fans want to see their character played. They thought Chadwick did an amazing job. Chadwick passed. It's time for someone else to continue telling the story.
T'Challa is still needed in the MCU. He's still needed in Wakanda. It's unfortunate that he passed, but I'm just gonna say, do what you would do with any freaking white actor, okay? Just do what you would
call
do.
It out.
I'm just gonna say, do what you would do if a white dude died.
Yeah.
And he was an important character.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill died. We're not like, Supergirl.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen it in DC. We've seen it in Sony. If you don't have your franchise's main character,
yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but I will just call it what it is. Call me a misogynist if you want. I don't think that's the case, though. From Black Panther's inception in, what do you say, 64?
65.
65 to now, why do people read the Black Panther comic? Like, why do they read it? They read it because
you can look at the success of the runs of some of those comics where someone else was taking up the mantle.
Bro,
yeah, and that's the thing.
I've dove in on this.
Go look
before.
At Suri's run. It didn't work.
Any time that anyone, since everyone is so fucking worried about a mantle, any time that anyone takes up the mantle in the comics, T'Challa's not absent. Any time that you learn about any of the any of the past Black Panthers, it's just to develop the story of T'Challa and where he's going as the Black Panther. It all points back to him. It always, 100%. Like how you just said about Wakanda. Without T'Challa, there is no Wakanda. He is Wakanda.
Yeah.
He is the franchise's main character. Even in Spider-Geddon or any of the Spider stuff with Spider-Man, without the Peter Parker. Without Peter Parker, shit crumbles. It happens. Like even in the cartoon that we watched in the 90s cartoon growing up with the Amazing Spider-Man, when Madam Web got all of them together, she needed the original. She needed Peter. You can have 2099.
Pointed him out as being the you're gonna lead him.
Yes, he did lead him. Like you can have Ben Reilly, you can have 2099, Miguel O'Hara, you can have Miles, you can have, but it's Peter.
Look at Into the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales' film. They had 2 Peters.
Yeah,
because of Peter Parker, bro.
Peter Parker.
See him.
Peter Parker, and it's the same thing with T'Challa. So you know, I mean, we could go on and on, but as always, the question is for you guys. I think the blatant disrespect toward the character has got to stop. I'm very hopeful in the things that Kevin Feige has just said. That's hopeful. It's seeing a hopeful side to what we never get in the recast movement, and that's a W. So I'm going to take that W. I'm going to say that Marvel is now on the side of recast because they are starting to see the effects of what could happen if you do not recast this character. I've said it from day 1. I'm going to say it on day 2, and I'm going to say it on the day 302. Marvel's making the biggest mistake in not recasting if they do not recast the character. So let us know down below in the comments what you guys think. We are a little over a month away from the film. We are going to sit down November 10th to watch this. So you guys let us know. Do you guys think Marvel should recast the character? Do you think what Kevin Feige said, this is hopeful? Do you think that this is going to be leading toward a future in seeing T'Challa? I'm not talking 2025, even though it could be that long. I don't want it to be that long. But do you think that we could be seeing him again in the future? Let us know down below in the comments what you guys think. And also, let us know what you think about Harrison Ford being cast or possibly being cast as Thunderbolt Ross. What do you think there? Do you think that that is also a contradiction? Do you think that if you say that for T'Challa but you don't say it for Thunderbolt Ross, what's the difference? Make it make sense. So let us know down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, share with your friends.